Hey, everybody. Today we're going to talk to William. Now, he's had a couple posts on DUMAGUETE Expat, and he's also had a couple videos out on other channels. So I thought I'd give him a chance to tell his side of the story. He's been married to a Filipina for 5 or 6 years. They're going through a separation. He's moved to Thailand, and she's selling the house that he built. So let's talk to him about his situation and get his side of the story. Here's a screenshot of the post William put up on Facebook about his house and the situation. Let's welcome William to this channel.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm going to start right away, get right into my story here, okay? And a lot of people know my story, and some people have assumptions.
Not everyone has heard your story yet.
Okay, well, I thought they watched my channel and they'd follow. Anyway, okay, let's do this. About 2015 or so, I met my now wife, okay? And we met through friends, and she sends me a message saying, "Hey, I hear you're looking for a wife." And I said, "You heard wrong," because I had a relationship I broke up with anyway. But I said, "There's no way I want that." Anyway, so we got along extremely well. And I had her working for me in the house as a house worker for a little while, I guess. So when she worked for me, then I said, "Well, why don't you bring the kids over and stuff?" And the kids were wonderful. They're just good kids. And it was so sweet. And it was all over me, and I used to drink a lot back then. I don't drink hardly at all now. I do drink, but not like I did. But the kids were, like 6 and 7, 5 and 6 years old, 5 and 6 years old. And I took them into the house, right? And we lived pretty good, And I said, "Boy, you guys are awful nice to me." I said, "Why is that?" And they said, "Because you're so nice to us. You're so good to us." I said, "Well, okay, that's good. That's a good sign." I got 2 daughters in the U.S., so I know how to deal with that young age. They're kind of cute and sweet and nice, and they do the funniest things. Anyway, so I moved them into my house, and then we dated. And then after a while, my wife took me down to see the house that they lived in, and it was literally a piggery. It was a modified pig house, which was it was crazy terrible. I mean, it was beyond poor, unsuitable for kids. And I said, "Now you get that." And I said, "You get that shit out of there, and you get that to the house, and make sure everything's out." And so that was a solution for the house situation. Then we got married about a year after we met. And literally, it was kind of strange because it was like, "Well, what do you say we just get married?" Okay. Went down to the courthouse, did all the requirements first. Went down to the courthouse, said yada yada, I do, okay.
Sounds like you fell in love fast.
It was good. And she was my absolute, no doubt, without any question, she was my absolute very best friend. We was inseparable for years. We've been married, 5 or 6 years now. Been together for about a year and a half before that. So I'm telling you that everything was fine. And then literally 2 years ago, my wife started changing her personality, her attitude, her everything. And she wasn't like mean at first, but just a lot of very significant, strange changes in her behavior. And okay, so I helped her start a business, and I would buy this stuff as selling clothes. She did very well. There's a few months during the holidays where she made more money than me, and I was so proud. And I was always so proud of the kids. I mean, I would make sure that they had everything they wanted. Maybe that wasn't good, but I'm just telling you, I made sure they had everything they wanted. And, so I said, hey, we got to build a house because I'm not going to be around forever. I'm going to kick off someday. And, anyway, so I took care of the kids. We decided to build a house. So we started doing it, and there was issues with workers and issues with the foundation and issues with the rebar. So it took a while to get this thing started, and then some of it never got resolved, and I thought it was. You know how it is, when you hire workers.
What did you do with her old house?
I had them drop a tree on top of that pig house, and they dropped a tree straight on top of that thing, and I made sure they hit it too. Some of my older videos has that little house getting demolished, and I'll send you pictures so you can post them if you want. Not to embarrass anybody, I'm just telling you that they came from that, and it was horrific. So yes, I did everything I can to keep them out of poverty. I'm not rich, but I'm pretty middle class in the Philippines, so
Trying to improve their lifestyle.
yeah, big time. Yeah, it was a step up. Yeah, they had anyway, so moving on, I built that house. We had several pauses and then my wife started demonstrating significant personality changes. I just noticed the changes in her behavior, where she's coming back with her eyes wide open. I'm like, well, what's the matter with you? She goes, the sun was in my eyes or something like that. And oh, damn, go get yourself a pair of sunglasses or something, right? And she would act funny. She would go every day and doing stuff. And I don't know where she'd come back like late in the day. And like I said, I trust my wife. I trusted everything she did. And then suddenly one day somebody messaged me on Messenger and said, hey, your wife owes me like, I don't know, about 15,000 pesos. I'm like, well, why would she borrow money? I give her money. I don't understand where. So I asked her that, and it's for something to do with this, buying extra bundles of clothing or something like that. I said, well, I don't remember it then being that much. I was, okay, and then other people, this behavior of like suddenly somebody coming up and saying she owes me money, and she's been doing this a lot. I didn't know it, because she would get the money from other people and then pay it back when I got paid, and I'd give her money for the month.
Sounds like she was robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, rob Peter to pay Paul, not caring who it is.
You're in Thailand right now, but this happened in the Philippines.
And I'll tell you why I left in a little while. Okay. Yeah. And then we got to the point where we moved to a different house. Why? It was a bad idea. It was just a bad idea. It was like half the rent. It looked nice, but a little farther out of town in Montayop. And I'm telling you right now, it's like I got there, and then when I went to I had a motorcycle, and I went to the dealer and asked him, geez, I've been paying double payments on that. I said, what's my balance on my motorcycle? And they said, oh, it's 10,000 pesos, sir. I said, really? I could pay that sucker off right now. She goes, no, that's the delinquent amount.
10,000 delinquent.
Woo! I mean, I was furious. I left there screaming. I mean, I was like, not at the people, but I was screaming that I just been screwed for a couple of years. And I paid double payments on it. So my wife was just putting that in her pocket and to whatever she was doing. And it started to get expensive. Now, when we moved to the new house, I said, you need a motorcycle. So I go take her down the Rusi, pick out a motorcycle, and I start making payments on that. Double payments again. So, sucker. So when I talked to my wife about the one motorcycle being behind, I said, please don't ever do that again, ever. If you need something, just tell me, we'll work it out. Always been like that. I don't know why she just did it. She still didn't tell me why. Anyway, so we went and bought another motorcycle, and I'm making payments so she can run around with the kids and I have a bike. And I mean, it's just compounded is what I'm saying. It's just compounded and next thing you know, she says, oh, my brother wants to borrow the motorcycle. And I said, well, just don't let her borrow it too long. I didn't buy it for him. I bought it for you. So you could run around and get the kids and stuff. And the motorcycle was gone. Apparently her brother borrowed it. Well, in reality, it got repossessed.
Rusi came and got their bike.
But she came and got their bike. And they'd come to the house a couple of times looking for money. But I didn't understand what they were saying, so I didn't think anything of it. So anyway, the erratic behavior become more and more. And I said, you need to get a hold of yourself. I said, you've been acting this way and this way. And then she's like, well, so what? If you don't like it, get out. You know? And I'm like, I've never mistreat you. You know? And anyway, if I change and I just go back to the house, I remember that when before my YouTube channel was monetized, I started a GoFundMe, and that GoFundMe was labeled clearly, and it said to support my YouTube channel before I was monetized. Then when I became monetized, I closed it up. I didn't make much money on that, and I think I made about $300 total the whole time it was up. And somebody asked me, how do I support your channel? I said, that's a good question. So I did GoFundMe. So, you know, if you want to support this channel, go to my GoFundMe. Then when I became monetized, okay, you know, we'll do it this way. And then I never mentioned the monetized at all after that ever since.
A lot of YouTubers have PayPal or buy coffee for donations from viewers to support their channel.
And the funniest thing is the trolls have a certain language amongst themselves. And when you have a GoFundMe, they call it e-begging. And I'm like, man, I ain't never begged for anything in my life. I would never beg for my life if a robber looked me in the face with a gun. I said, ain't going to happen, bro. I'm good with the man upstairs. But, you know, I'll fight you. I'll defend myself. But, you know, I mean, I'm not going to beg you for my life, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, the house was 2/3 built, and the behavior got crazy. And then when she said, just go, right? And I said, well, I'm going to go take a little vacation. I'm going to go to Thailand. We're going to clear our heads. We're going to get through this. I got to figure something out, but I can't do it here. This is crazy. So, and then one day we got in a little bit of a real good spat, and I said, you know, I got my bags packed right now. And she goes, go, just go and don't come back. Go and don't come back. I said, oh. I said, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, because right now I am on the teeter of just leaving this situation. I said, but I have obligations. The thing is, I was thinking of the kids. I didn't leave because of them. I wanted to make sure they kept. Then it became toxic after a while. People call me all the time saying, your wife owes me money, this and that. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, hon. And I stopped at that point. I said, I don't know what to tell you, hon. If you want your money back, I used to pay her bills. Somebody would call me up angry and say, she owes me 15,000 pesos. And she borrowed money from her church and never had any intention of paying it back. I paid them back. So anyway, so long story short, I left. And then I found out that my wife had an insurance policy out of me for, I think it was 1 million pesos. Her oldest daughter, she's got her head screwed on straight. Okay. Now that's still mama's kids. So, I mean, I'm not, So the youngest one's got an attitude, but I don't blame the kids. I don't. It's just she's, you know how it is. I mean, you don't get in, you don't cause a rift with mama and the kids. So anyway, but the oldest child says, I heard mama talking to the people at the kitchen table, and so be careful. I know. I said, why are they going to do that? She goes, the insurance money. I was like, son of a bitch. I was like,
Any chance of getting back together?
she wanted to get back together, and she says, and I said, why don't you come to Thailand and we can go hang out. We can go see the elephants, the tigers, and stuff like that. We can do all these things, and we get to know each other again, get back to where we was. And that collapsed. She goes, oh, you're forcing me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to force you. I'm just going to tell you, if I'm going to come back, this is what I got to lay down the law and say, this is what we got to do to get you out of that environment. Then she says, oh, you're forcing me. I'm not going to go. I said, well, okay, you just stay there and we'll just make this permanent. I said, I really have to make that decision. I have to cut my losses and go. So when I left all my possessions. I took the motorcycle back to the dealer, and I said, let's make a deal on returning this and having somebody assume the loan, and then I'm good. She said, okay, because I didn't owe a lot on it. So I said, I'm just walking away from everything. I just got to go. And it wasn't irresponsible. When I left, I gave my wife minimal support. In other words, money for food and stuff. Because even though we're separating, I'm trying to help. Anyway, so after that, I said, I paid the church. I paid about 3 or 4 of her friends that she borrowed money from, that she swore. I paid the church off, that she swore she'd give the money back. So, man, this is a mess.
So what's she up to now?
She had a boyfriend for a little bit after I left. And I'm all right with that. If I left her, I'm not concerned about that. Okay. You know, she thought it was making me monstrously jealous. And at first, yeah, you know, I don't. And then she said she was going to and then my daughter said that there's talking about he was going to fix up my house and then move into it. And I was, oh, you can bleep that out. That became an issue because I have about 1 million pesos invested in it. I had people say oh, you only got 5,000. They don't have my bills. They don't know what I put into doing it and redoing it. The roofing was 80,000 pesos. You know, I mean, it's just the roofing panels, having it put on, having a metal frame structure put on there and stuff. You know, trust me, it was. I got a little better than 1 million pesos into it. And I told her, I said, man, that house I built to move into and retire, not for some dude to bang my wife. Okay, to live in there, you know. And then recently I just said, I got to let this go. And then she started posting about the houses for sale, and I like to lose my cool about that. And I said, oh, hell no. So I talked to the lawyers and talked to this. So I do know my rights, so they can comment and say, you can't own anything and this and that. Well, in reality, I own the house because I paid for it. And if she has issues about the GoFundMe, God, 3-4 years ago, it's still money that went into the house. It's conjugal property. And the land under it, I cannot own.
Who owns the land?
Her auntie, her family.
Did you have a lease?
No, I honestly didn't need to. I kind of had permission to live here, but yeah, it would have been better. But see, if I leased it, there would have been a bigger issue, you know. But it's not. But anyway, so she can't legally sell it, but you know what? There's nothing I can do to stop it. And that's what the lawyer told me. So the other day I realized that this is going to happen. Then she says she bought it. She shows all this money on her post. And I'm like, well, it was purchased illegally. I can make it now. I do have some plans that I think would be considered to be mean-spirited, you know, because of some of the structural defects. You know, you just kind of make a few phone calls to the engineering department in the municipality, and that house will come down.
Sometimes it's just better to move on.
That's where I'm at now. That's why I agree with some of these videos, and they're like, dude, get over it. But then the comments will say, oh, you can't own anything. And then the other one says you own half the house. And they're, you know, I talked to lawyers extensively, and good ones from a good law firm, and, you know, in the DUMAGUETE area. Excellent. The guy's he's a Filipino, but he's a Filipino American. And he's a retired U.S. Army. Okay. And fairly young. I don't know why he's retired, but he's a retired former U.S. military. So he knows American law. He knows the law here. So he knows how to put it together for you very quickly. He says, you still own that. He says, but you got to come over here and file a case.
I just find this a tragic and sad story.
It's sad. It's sad. And I'm a permanent resident in the Philippines. Somebody says, oh, you're going to give all that up? I said, yeah, I'm just not. I don't want. And the thing is the attitudes and the personalities here, you can pick one or the other. But in my particular case, it's the people are so nice here. They're not looking at you with that grin on their face that you're a foreigner. You have a lot of money. If I heard that one more time, I was going to punch somebody.
Jana and I will visit Thailand next year.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth even a small visit. I mean, the tickets are cheap. You know, you go to Singapore and bounce right over here to Chiang Mai or something like that. The only thing is I don't like Pattaya and stuff because it's just all girl bars. And to be honest with you, I'm not chasing. I'm not chasing right now. You know, I have some good special friends, you know, right now, and I'm very happy with that, you know.
What type of visa do you have?
I have a 13A marriage visa, which, you know, it's funny. Somebody said, oh, she's going to go and complain to immigration. I know how that works. It's just bull crap. They won't listen to it. They can say anything they want. I have in the Philippines, there is legal obligations for support, you know, for your spouse. And I respect that. I actually supported my wife like for the first 2 months. And then I said, that's time for you to get a job and stuff like that. And then after that, I'm going to stop. And I did. And then when she said she like sold the house, and I'm like, well, let's put it this way. She could use that money to support the kids and her, and that'll be fine.
Did she sell the house?
I don't know. But what she said on the post, she sold the house for installments or payments where somebody's going to give her like $15,000 a month for it for 5 years.
Can someone buy the house and the land?
No, because the land isn't divided amongst the family members. So she can't just get the land. She has to have the landowners divide it and have that house on one of the plots. And now there's more landowners, so that's going to be hard to divide that. You're going to have to buy the land off to maybe 2 people if you just want the house only. But I'm thinking of doing the engineering route, though. They can do it, and then next thing you know, they're going to be mad because they're going to want their money back. But I don't want to be vindictive either. But in the same sense, when that guy was putting that roof on, the guy said the whole wall was moving, and that's just not, something's not right. It was moving from underground, so there's no foundation under it, none. It's just a layer of cement holding the blocks straight in line, you know.
Can you share with the viewers to help others from making the same mistake?
Well, I tell you something, that's hard because as a man, you want to do everything you can for your family. And that's what I did. So I have very little regrets, but have a prenup. Please just get it. You know what I mean? I can file for divorce here, you know, and that's good. It's not recognized in the Philippines, but it's recognized throughout the rest of the world. So that's all I want, because I'm not going to go back to the Philippines. If I do, I'll go back and visit people, you know, that I know, but not in that town, because It's not cool, and I've never experienced that. So I don't know how to deal with that, I don't know how to deal with it. So I didn't know how. It just got worse and worse and worse until what we just talked about happened. And then I had to go.
You contact an attorney.
The lawyer a couple times because of her boyfriend. I was going to have him charged with adultery, but, and then I was like, fine. As time goes by, I'm more like letting go, I come to terms with it's over anyway. And I broke up with her. I had somebody say she kicked me out of the house. That was ridiculous. They didn't even know. And then I had a troll on messengers and, oh, did you pay your taxes to BIR? And did you do this and do that? And I said, why are you asking me those questions about something that has nothing to do with you? Yeah, he says, you had a GoFundMe, which means you was e-bagging. I said, boom, troll. It's okay. I know it's a troll now. And BIR, I said, don't you guys realize that if you file taxes in the U.S., you do not have to pay taxes in the Philippines? It's a tax treaty, where you pay taxes in one country, and that's the way it is.
What are you going to do now?
I don't know. Like I say, I got this like sweet ass apartment, man. Look at this. And I don't know if you can see out the window, but that's beautiful mountain range right there. It's a nice apartment, Oh, there's my food there, but
Little peanut butter.
I got a beautiful bathroom or CR they call it there, and I'm having a lot of, and the funniest thing is I moved here, paid for tickets, I paid deposits, I paid rent, I paid for food, which is a little more expensive here, and I still got money in my pocket.
You're a single guy. You should have some money in your pocket at the end of the month.
I said, man, I got like 20,000 pesos in my pocket. It's payday. And I'm like, damn. I said, and then that's when I realized, I'm going to say this and it's going to sound funny, but I said, man, that bitch has been screwing me for years.
Well,
because the cost of raising kids isn't that much. They're very healthy. They eat healthy meals, healthy food, healthy environment. If they didn't see the right kids, we kind of shifted them around a little bit, to hang out get different sports. I put them into karate, and one is a 2-time karate champion. I'm still proud of that. Regional champion. And I just really, like I said, I did everything to make sure they were. So I did my job. I can't see where anybody would say I did not do my job. So that's just my testimony.
You have a YouTube channel.
I think it's My Thailand Retirement. I changed the name of it. But if you look up my name, William M. Abrams, Abrams on YouTube, you will find me pop up quick enough. I just put a post on one of the expats thing, and I said, you're going to see this advertisement, a house for sale. It is not for sale. It is my house. And I did that because it is my house legally, and the lawyer said that was the right thing to do, because if they buy it, it's going to be under fraudulent. It could be null and void. I'm not going to do that. But in the same sense, if she sells it, she'll be able to live pretty decent until she goes through that money. And if it's going every month, at least she won't suck up all the money. Well, maybe, hope not. You know what I mean? A case of it, and people think that all the time. It wasn't a case of greedy Filipina trying to get the foreigner. It became a case of people were giving her money because she was married to a foreigner. Make sense? For her problem, and it's sad, man. I'll tell you something. I'll get off this camera here pretty soon. I'm going to cry my eyes out again. It's just horrible. It's a horrible change. I said, and I'll say that. I'll sit down in my bed and I'll talk to my friend. I said, I just want my best friend back. I told my wife that, and she's okay with it. She wants to get back together. If anybody's seen some of my live streams where she was saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I want you to come back. I want everything to be good. And then like the next day she would attack right at me. That's typical. It's so sad, man. I miss my best friend, and she's gone. So I have to go through the stages of grief, you know, just like that. So good luck to everybody, and when you find your partner, you can believe in them, but sometimes things happen, because I really loved that woman. So I really did. And I was very, very extremely proud of those children. And it's so crazy, unfortunate. That's all I know. So
Janet will try to reach out to her and get her side of the story.
yeah, contact her on there and see what happens. I mean, I blocked all her channels. I just couldn't deal with the, look what I'm doing with my boyfriend and stuff like that. And she's just trying to get a response, and it doesn't bother me anymore because I know I'm already at terms with it's gone. So yeah, okay, good for you.
When things go south, it's tough.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Who knows where it is?
I've had people tell me, "Oh, I think you're this," and I'm like, "Okay, I appreciate." Oh, some of the videos that I saw about this house situation. One guy was not very favorable to me, but I agreed with him. I agreed with him. I said, "No," he goes, "You need to lick your wounds and move the hell on, boy. You don't get a house and do this to these Filipinos and this and that from this way." And I was like, "Damn, dude's right." Yeah, even if you just send her a message, say you want to say your side of the story, let her. I'm not saying you're going to get the story straight, but my story is always consistent, and it's just. And if you remember our recording, we had to start over. It's still the same. I'm at terms with it at this point.